You're alone. The wind howls outside your isolated cabin, deep within a silent, menacing forest. A flickering lantern casts dancing shadows across the room. Every creak, every rustle sends a jolt of ice through your veins. Your heart pounds. You know this feeling, don't you? This primal dread. It's a scene etched into our collective consciousness, a blueprint for fear. But what if we told you that the very clichés that make this scenario terrifying were not always clichés? What if one film, a true pioneer, didn't just use these tropes, but actually invented many of them? You might think of The Cabin in the Woods as a tired horror trope, something overused and predictable. But to understand its true power, you need to go back to 1981, to a film that redefined horror for generations, Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead. Imagine yourself back then, in a movie theater, completely unprepared. No internet spoilers, no decades of horror history to frame your expectations. You're plunged into this raw, visceral experience. 5 college students, a remote cabin, an ancient book, and a demonic entity. Simple, yet profoundly effective. The Evil Dead wasn't just a horror film, it was a masterclass in psychological manipulation. It understood that true terror doesn't come from jump scares alone, but from a relentless, suffocating atmosphere of dread. The isolation of the cabin itself becomes a character, a trap. You, the viewer, feel as trapped as the characters on screen. Consider the dead-eyed possession. It wasn't just a monster, it was your friends, your loved ones, twisted into grotesque mockeries. The film exploited the fear of betrayal, the horror of seeing the familiar become utterly alien. This subversion of trust amplified the terror exponentially. And the camera work? Raimi didn't just point and shoot. He used the camera as an active participant, a lurking demon, a relentless predator. The famous Raimi cam through the woods, rushing towards the cabin, puts you directly into the path of unseen evil. It's an unnerving, almost nauseating technique that keeps you perpetually off balance.
Carol Clover, a renowned film scholar, analyzed how films like The Evil Dead create what she calls the final girl trope, the lone survivor, usually female, who endures unimaginable torment and eventually confronts the evil. Ash Williams, though male, embodies many aspects of this archetype, transforming from a hapless victim into a chainsaw-wielding hero. You witness his complete breakdown and rebirth, a journey that resonates deeply. The film's impact was immediate and profound. It wasn't just gory, it was inventive. It wasn't just scary, it was unsettling. It took familiar elements, young people, a remote location, and twisted them into something horrifyingly new. It taught filmmakers how to build suspense, how to create iconic monsters from within, and how to make every single frame ooze with dread. So the next time you watch a horror film featuring a cabin, a group of unsuspecting friends, or an ancient evil, remember The Evil Dead. It wasn't just a film, it was a foundational text. It perfected the art of making you feel truly, utterly alone in the dark. It showed us that sometimes the scariest place isn't somewhere unknown, but somewhere you thought was safe. And it proved that a few simple tropes, expertly deployed, can create a terror that lasts a lifetime. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give us a like, share with your fellow horror buffs, and subscribe for more spooky content.